Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another session of Channeling Ascensions. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, along with my co-host, Christina Hill, and her beautiful entity, Athella, who will come in whenever she divinely wishes to come in and say her piece, and our repeat offender, Charles Edwardus. You'll know why we've got him back on again, because he is such a delight, and when we do these shows together, we literally take off, and the wings appear, and it's really a beautiful experience, and anyone that listens to our shows and listens to Charles just wants to get a piece of him. So you'll hear why if this is the first time. If it's not, welcome back. If it is, go back and listen to the other shows and you really will be inspired. Absolutely. We have fun in this. We laugh, but we're talking about very, very serious topics as well in the joyful moment. And today our topic is soul identity. What does that mean? You have your personal identity, you know, that little ID card, that's your stamp, legalization. But what is the heart and soul of you? Where do you come from? Because we are living so much in the head, we forget to live into the soul. So we've each written a little something here, which I'm going to read. And then we will step into it and let our spirits fly. So this is my little piece here. We are so hung up on our identity as a human that we forget our soul's identity. Does your soul have an identity? Yes, it does. And when you identify with it, you step into a presence of being that ignites your human presence into wholeness supreme. In this show, we're going to show how you can ignite your soul's identity and become that beautiful being you are. Charles says, who are we? In reality, who are we? Pierre Teilhard de Chapelain, I said that wrong, I know. You are not a human being in search of a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being immersed in a human experience. We tend to identify ourselves in the terms of form, while all the form emerges from the formless. What paralyzes life is the lack of faith, the lack of audacity. Let us have this audacious conversation about true identity and proceed as though limits of our abilities do not exist. And Christina, would you like to speak? Yours, please, love.
I'm going to piggyback off of Charles a little bit. That's okay. The formlessness. We hear this. What does that really mean? Can we feel it? I think we can.
Yes.
We are. We are. The formless, when we let go of all the forms and we get quiet. That's what that really means for me. It's the silence, the stillness when we're coming within, when we're going within. You know, and we do this all the time. We get a paper bag over our head when we, get busy and the ego and the chatter mind. But really, it's so simple. And life is simple. So we come into the formless every time we step into our own inner stillness. We have to be aware and quiet enough to feel that. So I enjoy this. We're making huge headway today as we speak on a topic that is so fifth-dimensional. And so important, though, that we do recognize, as Charles is just so eloquent with his words said, is that we are formless and we're playing and dancing with forms. And the forms come and go. Forms come and go. And then we're the eternal, God. We are.
Gus. And for those who don't know what Gus is, it's Charles's beautiful terminology of God, universe, and spirit. So you're going to have a lot of gussing going on here today.
That a lot. That's a buzzword. It's gonna catch on.
It's getting out there.
Yes, it is. It's spreading out in the internet. I think everyone's going to start using this. This is cool.
Yeah. And Charles, my darling, so lovely to have you back here again. And you are such a wonderful spirit. And those that do listen to the shows, just get ignited by you, most certainly. But, you're a reverend of 40 years. And
Yes.
so, of course, you're used to being up at the pulpit and preaching, which I don't
Yeah.
think you are. I think you're conversing with the Gus and bringing it into
Yeah.
your realm so everyone can feel a part of it. I imagine your church is like a party. I can't wait to be there and experience it.
Yeah.
Lifted with joy and exuberance instead of solace and
It's the first church I'll
damnation.
go to for,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's hands
Absolutely.
down. I would walk
Yes,
into that
yes.
church any
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
getting into that groove, most certainly, definitely. But just for those that haven't had the pleasure of knowing you before, just give people a little, I mean, your Victorious Living program as well. Just give
Yeah.
us a little
Yeah.
snippet of you.
Well, and on the subject that we're talking about, the whole idea of our identity, we are spiritual beings, and we're actually, uh, as I understand it, we've gotten stuck in ego and this formation that we have, as Christina said, that passes away, that is impermanent. It is not permanent. Who we permanently are, I think we're in the process of discovering in this life, discovering the reality of our being. But in many religions around the world, including Christianity, there is this idea of this that we embrace as reality is in fact the dream, and we are here in a process of waking up to the authentic reality. We have the ability to begin to consciously live out of the imaginal realm whereby we create. The imaginal realm, there's a scripture, and I can't tell you the address off the top of my head, but it talks about everything that is made, everything that we see and that is made was made from those things which are not seen.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul talked about we see through a glass darkly or dimly. So we kind of live in this quote unquote real world. Is really, it's the dream. It's not the real world. And eternal life, in Christianity we talk about inheriting eternal life, and it kind of messes people up. And I said, well, it's not something that I'm going to get, it's something that I have now. Eternal life I have now, and I am learning to truly live in that authentic eternal life. And Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said it right there. We are not, these, we are in fact spiritual beings, and we're not these physical beings that are seeking for spiritual experiences. So a lot of, I preached a series of sermons called Identity Theft, because identity theft is such a big thing now. And you're talking about all these things, LifeLock and all this to protect your identity and everything. But we need a spiritual LifeLock to grab hold of and hang on to who we truly, truly are, and the potential that we have to create and then co-create with Gus, because we're his kids.
Yes.
He wants to pass the family business on to us, So, yeah.
Christina, I know you're bursting at the butt there.
This is rich for me. This is where I have a friend, a colleague, who calls it the sauce. This is where the sauce is.
Yeah, just get it all over you.
Exactly, like pour it out. Yeah, because it's really about then what the anchor that we're talking about here, and Gus is showing itself through us, the ways that we can anchor ourselves in this unseen, in the formless.
Yeah.
We're seeing it and we're feeling it, and now we're at the level of consciousness, global consciousness now, is we're understanding more and more how to live this.
Yes.
We're grounded and anchored in something that is not a form.
Yeah.
And then I often will ask clients and just people I run into on the street, it's like, where is your island of safety? Like, what gives you that sense that you are safe, that you are supported and loved, and that it's really, at the end of the day, it is really okay, that we are okay.
Yes.
And often people look around and they're like, gosh, well, I've got this, and it'll end up being a conversation about these material things, or about, well, I've always got my health, or I've got my dog, or and we go to these forms because it seems like that just seems so real to us.
Operative word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seems.
Or
Yes.
if I get to this place,
Yeah.
place financially, or this particular juncture, or if I find my soulmate, then.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's always then, isn't
Exactly.
it?
Yeah.
You talk about formless, and that's always been kind of my battle. I'm a formless being. I really have a hard time living in this vehicle, because I am far more at home in my formlessness. My sanctuary is the universe. It is the ether of just being. It is in that dance of the of the spirit of that beautiful symphony of universal orchestra. I am so at home there that when I have to kind of come into body to be a part of the world, that has always been my battle, because I love the formless, because the form is the battle for me. But that's also our life's journey, isn't it? It's one of our reasons for coming here.
Right.
It is this, actually, when we look at the body and the gift that it is. Because the sense, as you said, Charles, when we're going to meet, we're going to hug each other.
Right.
The wrestle hug. And that contact is to something that in the formless isn't the same. We're spiritual energy, we rise ourselves up like etheric music, but that physical contact, that being able to touch, that kiss that a lover has, or the kiss of a child, the actual being able to physically run or dance or do things, or the water running on our body, the sunlight on our face. This is the gift of the human presence. And when we can actually dance with it in our formlessness, in our spiritual presence, and be as one. And it took me a long time to find that. And still, I go in and out.
Yeah.
I have those days where I'm in the human form and then then I get into my spiritual form with my body in sync, and it's a beautiful experience. But this is the identity of us. It's our formlessness into our humanness that defines what we're here for and what we're here to contribute.
And you have kind of articulated the challenge that we have, because now I'm going to get a little spiritually risque and say, for all intents and purposes, Sarah, you and I have felt your embrace, even though we have never been together. Christina, I have felt your embrace. We have, and dare I say, are intertwined.
Yes.
That's the beauty of the spirit, and the beauty of living in the spirit. When you look at, for example, and here I go in my heretical rantings, the intimacy that Jesus shared with Mary Magdalene. When you read some of the Gnostic Gospels, and you read the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Thomas, there are things there that point to, there is one point where it even talks about Jesus loving her above all the rest, and there were times when he would even kiss her on the mouth. But now, if we look at a kiss at the spiritual level, a kiss on the mouth, this is where we breathe. This is where the spirit flows through our mouth and nostrils. So, and in some cultures, in Middle Eastern cultures, men will even kiss as they greet each other, and that doesn't have anything. We're not talking about
The sexual
sexuality.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're talking
spirituality.
Yeah, spirituality. And even that, I guess, requires some level of spiritual maturity. And I don't say that as, in a puffed up way or anything, or that
It's stepping out of the ego, isn't it? Because the ego is, what will people think if I'm kissing somebody? Automatically people go to the sexuality. And, the sensuality is what you're talking about. Those senses of those two lips meeting and exchanging breath. Of that hug and that warm embrace. That sensuality is that we're in tune with our senses. That's where we're dancing together, whether we're physically together or not. The sexuality is when we're taking it to a whole new realm, and that's the intimacy of partners. This is an intimacy of spirit, which is so beautiful. And we are all dancing in this spirit right now.
Preach it, girl.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Yeah. And you said it. Everybody's not ready for that because we do tend to allow ourselves to be limited by
judgment, fear.
Yeah,
ego,
exactly. Yeah.
A few other things.
I think it boils down. You pretty much summed it up there, actually. Boiling it down to the fear and the ego, and then just like. So this fear of separation, I mean that really does cut us off from all the beauty that we're talking about here and that we can experience. Yeah. Back to the breath, though, I feel like this is another gateway into formlessness. If we just go right into our breath, there's no rule book that says that we can't come back to our breath in a moment of anger or angst. There's no one standing by. It's going to jump inside your head and punish you if you go, no matter what's going on, if you go back to the breath and you celebrate the formlessness, the spirit. We literally have, the spirit coming in, coming out. This is our constant. This can be your pillar. Going back to talking about, what do I hold on to? Whatever, all the forms go away. When you're stripped of all the forms.
And that is,
yes, we can come back to the breath. We can find the pillar in the formlessness. And find there's your safety. You are home.
Yeah. The intangible is your tangible anchor right there. You're exactly right. The whole living from that place of breath awareness. In the Greek pneuma, spirit, pneuma, in the Hebrew rosh. And it's breathed, the name of God in Hebrew, which is the tetragrammaton, which was never meant to be spoken, but to be breathed.
Yeah.
The breath of God. We, as a baby, the first syllable of the name of God is spoken in that first in breath. Yeah. And then the last thing as we leave this realm is the exhale. So when we connect, I'm getting glory bumps all over my body.
As am I. Yes.
But connecting, there is a security. And this whole idea of fear, F-E-A-R. False evidence appearing real. Nothing can separate me from the love of God, from the love of Gus. Nothing. If there is anyone that can separate, it's me. By my stinking thinking. By my getting stuck in an illusion of separation. but there is no separation. There's only the unity, the non-dual mind, the unitive mind where we are connected. And now you're getting past all of that stupid stuff, all of the nationalism and the racism and all the isms and schisms, and you're getting down to life. And we are life. We are love.
Breath is life.
Yeah.
Breath in a loving intent.
Yeah.
Is a gift that we give to one another.
Yes.
You notice when you talk, you take a breath in to exhale out the words.
Yeah.
If the words come out with a loving intent, a caring intent, with the feeling of that love that is within you, and that will come out in the breath, whether it be words, whether it be song, whether it just be a breath of love.
Right.
It is, we have to remember the internal identity is what is going to come out in your breath.
Yes, the essence of who you are. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you are going to speak in your breath, be noticeable of what comes out. Because this is what's reflected in. And if you don't like your dialogue, then you need to change it. If your dialogue is inviting conflict, you need to change it. You have to be soulful, heartful, and mindful. Now, when you are living in the soul and heart, what comes out of you will always come from the soul and the heart. The mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. If you're stuck in the head or the fear or the ego, what comes out is the insecurity.
Yes, and the fear. Yes.
And the fear. The discontent, the disconnect. Yes.
Yeah, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yes.
Another scripture. So what's in your heart? If fear is in your heart, if doubt is in your heart, it's going to come out. And again, it's like, I tell people a lot of times, don't be fooled by a feeling, but I feel so afraid. Okay, well, connect, where's that coming from? And what is the reality? What is true?
Stick to the facts.
Yeah. So nothing. I will leave this body one day, but I am immortal.
Yes.
I will live forever. I have always been, and I will always be. It's language like that got Jesus nailed to the cross. So
there ain't a cross big enough for us, guys. I'm sorry, we're not going that way. We're the choir at the present moment.
Yeah.
The song that we're singing right now, people are beginning and ready to hear. And they haven't been for so long because they got so lost in the fear. And Christina, your journey into being who you are and working with Athella now was a chosen path for you, but you had to go through your hell to get to your meaningful purpose, to be in your heavenly presence. And that's the thing, we have to be willing to take that journey and go through that presence. You want to know what your soul identity is? Take the journey to ignite from within, and you will discover what you're here for. And that is your soul identity, your presence of being. And like who you've become, Christina, who you've become, Charles, who I've become now, was because of the journey we were willing to take and the willingness to be vulnerable and expose ourselves, even up to ridicule and judgment and everything else. But to trust our breath, to trust our breath.
Yes. I just feel a little fusion there with Athella. So often I'll go in and out, just as you were pointing out earlier, Sarah, we going in and out of these states where Athella speaks. And then there's the human personality too. Something that was brought up though, again, about the crucifixion and we each have so many crosses to bear, and we go through these movements where, it's life is the pits, and we come, it brings us to our knees, right? And we have that crucifixion, we have that intensity. It's intense, and we believe so much. We believe in the feelings, we believe the thoughts, we believe in the fear. It's and we buy into it and get gobbled up by it, you know. And so that is a you know, be going through the fire, the flames of the fire, and then coming out to the other side is where we walk right through it, and often, you know, we do it afraid. But still, even with that though, it's like what happens to us when we leave the body, we are eternal. And I feel like people are really starting to recognize this and know this, and then the fear, because then we're a lot less afraid. You know, things happen, but we know that we're okay. We're solid with universe, and universe has got our back, like no matter what, what. That's an awesome way to live. If we allow ourselves to live in this way, and then we get out of our ego states, it's like, how quickly can we come away from the ego state and recognize that, and then immediately come back? It's like, Sarah, before we started the show, you said you were listening to, what was it you're saying? To lift your spirits, you were listening to
music. I was listening. What the world needs now is sweet love.
Because you needed to get yourself out of the.
I did. You know, I had to step into some loving care, and that's what you have to do sometimes. I had to switch off. I had plenty of responsibilities, but I had to switch off, and it was a question I needed to wrap my own arms around me and nurture myself with for me loving music. That, you know, in lieu of hugs from you two, I have to go into the music. And it is so healing, and it's so, you know, bringing your balance back, and it's so nurturing and feeling. I was really feeling, because, you know, one of my physical things, I get the plug pulled from me, and I was flattened, and just that music and taking time off, switched off from everyone else, just was fuel back into my heart and my soul. And, you know,
shift the energy,
shifting the energy. And, you know, Gus never ever gives us more than what we can handle, even when we feel I can't handle anymore. The little voice goes, yes you can. Gus is with you. You can handle anything. Then the question is, why do I have to? Because there's something to learn from it that you're going to apply in your life.
That's it right there, because again, another scripture where you go from glory to glory. Couple of things that emerged out of this. Christina, you were talking about, you know, it brought to mind the whole idea of, if I have this picture and over here is a flowing brook, and I've already got this pitcher full of water from yesterday, I can't do anything about getting this water from this flowing, cool spring that's flowing right in front of me. So before I can do anything, I have to empty that vessel. And so we are the vessel, and we have to empty ourselves from all of this superfluous, egoic, bovine excrement, so that we can receive the fresh flow. And see, yesterday's water, that flow from yesterday is not really what we want. We want today's, what we want.
Breath is constantly flowing, air is constantly flowing, water constantly needs to flow, energy is constantly moving, and when it stagnates, that's when it ferments and causes problems. So we mustn't hoard our energy, hoard our water. It's the more we spend it, the more we pour it out, the more the cup runneth over, the more we will get to share.
Now, and there is the message of Christ, because Christ poured out everything. He gave the entirety of his life, which is why death couldn't hold him, and he just took his life right back.
Great recycling. Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
It's
Let
like,
us not waste a breath.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, and even in Sufism, the whole idea of die before you die.
Mm.
Mm.
You know, we emerge as these amazing spiritual beings, and here again, going back to the whole idea of identity. You know, we're stuck in a mindset that has nothing to do with who we really are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can die every day because I have the power to take my life up again.
Mm-hmm.
In newness of life and freshness of life. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow may never be mine. Live fully and completely in this moment and live it fully.
When we sleep, it is a kind of a form of human death,
Mm-hmm.
because our spirit is then when it flies and renews.
Yeah,
So we go back to source, to Gus,
Yeah.
to re-energize,
yeah,
to bring back into our body the wealth of the water for tomorrow. So in a sense, we kind of die every day to
Yeah.
come back renewed every day. And sometimes we have some catastrophic things happen to us in our life that feels like death. And it is a death of a way of life, a death of a situation, a death of knowledge that was not serving us. We mustn't be afraid of these deaths, because when you look at the universe, there's something always dying. But from that death comes something new. Never, as you said, recycling. It doesn't waste anything. Every particle now becomes a rebirth.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you know, it's it really gets interesting for me here. Most recently, there are segments in my sleeping time when I know that I am conscious, I am aware, and I have I'm home, I'm getting energized, I'm getting direction, I'm getting nurture for the return to this realm to do what needs to be done and everything. So there is that can be, you can seek to have a level of lucidity in that dream time, and there are different ways of going about it and different things that may happen for everybody's different, but there is there are levels of lucidity that we can attain to, and then you get to the point where just earlier today in this waking consciousness, and I'm like, am I dreaming?
Yes.
And the answer is, in a sense, yes. I mean, this is the dream, and the other place is so much, real, or whatever realm we want to, however we want to name it, because I don't have the things that I'm experiencing that are not necessarily that pleasant with my body or whatever. I have a level of freedom. There is a peace, again, as the scriptures say, a peace that passes all understanding. Exactly.
That's
exactly.
it.
And see, this was the message that Christ brought that has been so lost in far too many Christian churches. And I was talking to another minister earlier today, and we were talking about how Judaism, Islam, and Christianity tend to be so closed and rigid, whereas you see more openness in Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, open to other people with other ideas and other ways of saying. But there's that part of the three main religions of the world that says it's our way or the highway.
Right. All of that is great mind stuff. That's great material that's frosted flakes for the ego right there.
Oh, I like that. Frosted flakes for the ego.
Yeah, because you remember Frosted Flakes, right? If you remember Frosted Flakes well, and I do.
And they're
Where-
tasty. They're
Yes,
really
you
tasty.
cannot just stop at one bowl,
No.
right? You have to
No, right.
continuously.
Yeah,
The
right.
sugar high. The sugar high.
Yeah,
That's it.
right.
That's it. And that
Yeah.
is actually neuroscience points to us and shows us that we get in on these ego states and we
Yeah.
become addicted to them, just like
Oh, we do.
Yes.
We-
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I've taught that too, because we're producing, and that was another one of the messages I have. Might as well face it, you're addicted.
Yes.
Okay, because we get addicted to states
Oh yes.
and we create those states, and for every states are fluid. And as Sarah was talking about earlier, she was in a state, but then with mindfulness and awareness, she took control. She ran her own mind and did what she needed to do in order to shift the energy and to elicit a more desirable state.
Yes.
See,
Stepped
that's
into love. Stepped
yeah.
into love.
That's living in the spirit and understanding the power that we have. But for every state, there are neurochemicals that our brain produces, and so we get addicted to those neurochemicals. There ain't enough drama. I got to go and create some drama.
Oh,
CNN.
I'm
CNN.
jonesing
Give
for
me
some
CNN.
drama.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's like,
I'm
are
doing
you
now.
serious?
oh my gosh, this is so funny. I'm enjoying this.
But is it true?
It's so
I mean,
true. It's so true. This is so true. Like, and the mind goes, because I have a code, right? There's a code for these states in my mind, at least. I've learned how to label them through the years. And you get to this point when you invest on yourself and you put in enough discipline so you're mindful enough of these states as they come in. I started to label them. So I have one label that goes, you have not suffered enough for 10 minutes, so now is time to suffer again. That's a label right there of like rumination of speedy, racy mind about a bunch of crap that doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
And it's simply just like, as a child, I was brought up in a home where there was always an emergency, like panic.
Right.
You know, and you had to and I was hyper vigilant and all these things going on around me. And I just learned that early on is like, if something's not going on, something's wrong and you're not really safe. So what's the emergency now? So the mind gets into that and you can feel it actually get to a point where your brain, so when we become aware, just like Sarah did, great self-love.
Yeah.
Great self-love on you, Sarah. And the discipline is there to say, no, okay, I know what I need to do now. And like taking action to switch that circuitry.
That's it.
Direct intervention is really what's needed.
What you were suffering from was post-traumatic stress. You were so busy being on high alert all the time. This is where our soldiers get it. Anybody who's through trauma gets it. You're on high alert. You can't trust the peace. You can't trust the silence. You're just waiting for the next bomb to go off.
That's
Right.
Yes.
So it's too calm. I can't stand it. I need you know.
And I'm afraid for my psyche, that's where I have to be. I've had enough drama in my life. I cannot take it. I shut down. And you were talking about dimensional.
Yeah.
For me, it's I'm constantly flying in different dimensions. I mean, Christina, you do it with Athella, and I'm sure you do it through meditation. But for me, that's where I've lived for my life. And I will remember something, and I have to think, did I really in this lifetime experience that? Was that something I was experiencing on another dimension? And very often it's I realize, no, I never actually did that in this body, but I so did it in my other dimension. I'm constantly bleeding in and out of dimensions because I'm a spiritual being that's always flowing. I just come here when I need to be here, and then off I go and do something else in another dimension.
Permission to be pastoral here a minute, because
pastor away.
we slip into this thing, and I do this often, and I do it with myself occasionally, although I've conditioned myself not to use these words, but be careful of the words that we use. Another scripture says we are snared by the words of our own mouth. So we say things like, I can't deal with this. Sure you can, but you choose not to.
Yes.
Now, feel the difference between I can't take this anymore. Feel how that feels, and then feel how it feels when you say, I'm not dealing with this anymore.
Mhm.
Not in the way that I have, or
Yeah.
something to the effect of,
Yeah.
I am not going to deal with this
Yeah.
anymore. I choose. And I prefer people say things like that includes the choice thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not that I can't deal with this anymore, but I
won't.
choose not
Yeah.
to
Yes.
deal with this anymore because the power is in my choice.
Yes.
Nobody
Yeah.
makes me
Mm.
feel anyway. And people talk about, oh, you made me feel so bad. I said, no, I don't have the power to do that.
No.
You're
Yeah.
choosing to feel badly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your content? What's going on within you? And that's the
Hello.
first thing that we turn away from, isn't it? I mean, I'm certainly guilty of that, where we'll just
Yeah.
immediately react
Yeah.
and look to the other person, the
Yep.
situation, and go, oh, da 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 da.
Yeah.
When in fact we
Blame.
go within, and it's
Yeah.
like, what material, what content is coming up
Yep.
and surfacing, and
Yep.
just feeling it. And Charles, I love the way you word this, is reclaiming our own power.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We reclaim our own power, and we decide how we're going to live. And most people, they won't be as dedicated to living in the present moment unless they have suffered enough. Have
Yeah.
you suffered? How much more suffering do you want?
Yes.
Because it's really truly up to you. No
Yes.
matter what is happening, we can choose. When I was 10 years old, you guys are going to love this. I was 10 and I had suffered quite a bit. And so I was like, okay, and this is my brain when I was 10 years old. I was like, maybe I have a choice. And I think I know this was universe. This was Gus speaking through me. Because I'd already went through all the whole religion thing, and that was, I'd been molested by a pastor, and it was very, very difficult. So I was like, okay, but there must be something that's calling me to do this, because I got out a piece of construction paper, I took out a marker, and my hands started to move, and I was doing some automatic writing, and what I wrote was, the choice is yours.
Wow.
And I slapped it up on top of my wall, and I looked at it.
Wow.
Because it dawned through me, through this, I was like, I do have a choice in how I'm going to think. I do. I can control that. Maybe I can't control what's going on, or if my brother is touching me inappropriately or whatever. I can't control these things, but I can control what I think. And that's
how you can choose how you are going to respond to what happens.
That's right.
That's it. And you make the choice. I am not and will not be anybody's victim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's beautiful when we can reclaim our power. We can.
Yes. And to understand that, when people are saying something to us, it's not always a reflection of you. It's a reflection of what's going on in you. And they're looking to dump it on you, to spend it, to relieve themselves.
Yes.
And this is where those boundaries come in.
Yes.
I wish you well, but I'm not taking that on.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the thing, is always wish the person well. There's going to be something, like a little button that goes, what did they just say to me?
Right.
On your defense,
or just tell them very simply, hey, guess what? I'm not a garbage can.
Right. Yeah.
Garbage and deposit.
What I also would say is take it up with your mirror. It's the only one that's interested. Just depends on how offensive it is. But we do immediately go into the reactionary. What did they just say? Did I do something for them to say that to me?
Right.
And we've got to stop, take that breath, and realize this is their discontent they're trying to impose upon you. You do not need to take it on. This is not a reflection of you. Yes, a lot of the things we do is a reflection on us. But if somebody's coming out on the attack, sometimes it is a question of they want to be where you are. They don't know how to get there. So instead of embracing what you've got, they want to bring you back down. And we have to understand that. And understand, I wish you well, but I'm sorry, not my channel.
It really doesn't. In most instances, and I deal a lot with this with some of the clientele that I have, as well as members of the church, and it is that it has nothing to do with you. It's them. They're projecting. Sometimes they need a can to kick, a cat to kick, whatever. But don't take it personal, And again, step into your own power. Don't give anyone or anything permission to run your mind. It's your mind. You run it.
Right.
feel what you want to feel. And and that's not just to blow off things,
Right.
but to take response
Mm.
ability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we've mentioned this before on one of the shows, but Don Rue's sayings, speak your word with integrity.
Yes.
Not assume, but ask.
Yeah.
Somebody else's, I can't remember what don't take things personally.
Right.
It's somebody else's reflection, not yours.
Right.
And do your best based on what you deem is your best. Have you honestly given your all? It's not somebody else's measurement.
Right.
And there's 4 simple codes that if we live by them, we're just not going to sweat the big stuff. We're just not going to let it affect us, because if we have spoken our word with integrity, we haven't assumed we know the answer, but we're inquisitive to ask.
Right.
We don't take somebody else's attack personally, and we do our best measured by our own measurement. We give ourselves permission to be who we are without this getting caught up in expectation. Because so many people are dictated by expectations.
Yes. I'm not put here to live up to anyone else's expectations. I'm
just
here
Gus's. When you live in Gus, you're in the expectation. You're doing it. Yeah.
I live in Gus World. Gus World. Excellent. Party on. Hey.
That's Waynesville, folks. If you're too young to remember that. Gus World. I love it.
This is the new consciousness of music. I feel like it's emerging now.
Yes. We all want to burst out into song. And we need a hallelujah, glorious God music coming out here. Definitely. I think that's what's so beautiful about your kind of church, Charles. And the way is that we know, when you get into kind of the gospel music, you get into that music that isn't the sermon, but into the expression of love of Gus, and let that song out, and everybody's feeling it and being it, and they are the music in that moment. My God, what fuel for the soul and for the heart and for the spirit. Absolutely gorgeous.
And just allowing people to experience what they need to experience in the moment. And sometimes it's an ecstasy. It's sometimes it's tears, and it's a purging, and it's a release, and whatever it is in that moment, it's okay. It's okay, allow
your emotion.
That's it. Allow what is to be, and receive from Gus. Pour out your hearts. The psalmist had one in there. Pour out your heart before him. It's just it's beautiful, just allowing people to be who they are, and without all of the pretense that tends to come with the institutionalization. And
I was listening to, the royal wedding, and in the church of the choir boys. And of course, being brought up in England and the choir singing, there's something about the singing in the churches that just because of the architecture resonates so beautifully. It's so harmonic. You don't need to understand the words. It's the music speaks to you, and it transcends religion. It is a divine connection, and it is so beautiful. And we had wonderful Michelle Pascal on last week, and did a beautiful meditation with Christina and Athella into Marcel, and then into song. And the show finishes off with a song that he does, no singing words, just beautiful sounds that he did with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it's so easy just to sit back and just let it wrap itself around you, let it penetrate within you, let your spirit and everything free. And I think, if you can find those places of where you can take off the human burden and step into the spiritual love, it is like liquid gold of oxygen running through your body of rejuvenation. It is absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. And not just the music, because G.I. Gurdjieff talked about the 3 centers: the heart center, the mind center, but then the movement center.
Yes.
So move, dance, liturgical dance.
Hip swinging.
And whatever. When you're by yourself at home, whatever. I was dancing in the shower the other day. I just, the water was running over me. And okay, maybe it wasn't dancing, but I was just kind of rocking, and just feeling and allowing the water to run over, and I'd move and the water would, and I'd turn around and the water's going down my back, and just when the spirit moves, you move,
Yes. Yes.
and just flow in it. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a big kid, and I got Peter Pan syndrome, and I won't grow up. So
It doesn't
I'm
matter
not.
how many thousands of lifetimes we are, the
Yeah,
spirit
yeah,
is meant to
yeah,
be young. The spirit,
yeah.
you can have youthfulness and wisdom in the same package, right?
I'm working on that. I'm trying, and heaven help us when we start taking ourselves too seriously, but to pour out the truth that is within you, and to share that truth. And each one of us has a different perspective on the truth, and what's real and what works. And that doesn't mean that because mine doesn't work for you, that mine is illegitimate, and that yours doesn't work for me, that yours is illegitimate. But allowing people to
Be their own
in their
instrument.
own. Yeah, exactly. Sharing the story with some folks at the church, and I told them, I said, our mother, rest in peace. I'm the oldest, and I had 4 younger siblings. Only 2 of them are still alive. But each one of us knew Mom in our own way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when we talk about certain situations that happened in the family in our youth, how each one of us has a different perspective of it. And each one of us, same situation, but
Yes.
our recollection of it and our description of it varies according to our individual uniqueness within the vine, which is
The
Gus.
connection.
I
Yeah.
am the vine, and you are the branches. So, and it's being able to celebrate that. And that is the true soul identity. Yes, unique and individual, and yes, unified and one with all. So, yeah.
Christina?
It is Athella.
It is Athella.
I knew it.
Yes, I thought she was coming on.
Yeah.
I have heard Viking words, strong and true, calling out to the ether. Truth. Each human, within its capacity, is limitless and is enclosed in a shell for a time. You know this, you speak of it. Take some time each day to embody this and live it. Be like the children, the indigo children on this planet. They are coming up.
Mhm.
They have open eyes.
Mhm.
Be as the plant or the iguana, even a small blade of grass. Notice the sun. How often do you go to your car and you do not look up? Be in the sun.
Mhm.
There are simple, very simple measures that you can include throughout your day to step away from the shadow of the mind, the false sense of self or ego, and you can live free, playfully, and you will have an experience. Oh yes, you will experience the world as you project. And within you, you have the ability to remain formless and true to your soul. The dog speaks
Mhm.
and says yes. I am here.
Mm.
As we sing, and this is what this is, singing. The voices collide. Sarah, Rose, your guide, and Charles. And I see a heavenly teacher next to you. Also the one who is orator, also preaching and joking and laughing. All of these songs, they are truth songs. When you speak, be mindful of the words that you speak. They carry the vibration to the ether. And you can quite easily speak love.
Yes.
I love you.
Yes.
Love. What the world needs now is
Is
love,
love,
sweet love.
love. That's the only thing. There's
There's
just
just
too little
little
love.
nicely. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And really, the message is always simple from Athella. It's connection.
Yeah.
We spend so much energy being connected to the wrong thing. And when we simply connect to the beautiful kiss of the sun on our face, when we feel the blade of grass between our toes, that even the dog barking and communicating with us, it's connection.
Yeah.
And we spend so many times trying to connect with people, but with the wrong plug.
Yeah.
It's come with heart. Come with soul. Bring your spirit there, and you will connect to those that have the right connection. You'll plug in, and together that energy will just exude out.
Yes, yeah. Christina hit on something too earlier, the whole thing. Just to add to that list, Sarah, come open and with vulnerability, afraid of nothing.
Yes.
Nothing to fear. Nothing to hide, nothing to lose, nothing to prove.
Nothing to prove. Nothing to prove. We spend our entire lives trying to prove ourselves. I need to prove I'm worthy. Yes. I am abundant. I am this and that. Well, while you're so busy trying to prove it, you're forgetting that you are it. Just be it. Just be it.
That's right. Yes, there it is. Oh, God, I love you guys so much.
This is so much fun. And for our listeners, too, I think everyone feeling this, listening to this, is going to ingest all this light, take it with them, and just lightheartedly, right? Just take it in and feel. My wish for everyone tuned in here is you could feel this awesome embrace, this total acceptance.
Yeah.
Is like we say, come as you are. And I think it was Kurt Cobain in one of his songs, come as you are, right?
Yeah.
And Kurt was reaching on to that. I mean, it's like, let's just be who we are and feel the love, share the love, and show others that we can accept them also as they are. No alteration needed, no show to perform or any of that.
Well, as Carole King says, you've got to get up every morning and show all the love in your heart. You are beautiful just as you are. And I think this is what we've there is the exterior beauty, just as there is a flower or something beautiful in the sky, a piece of art. We are all beautiful. We've all got different exteriors. And there's nothing wrong with beautifying yourself and enhancing what you've got, as long as it is not a definition of who you are. Because no matter what your outside looks like, exactly. If the interior does not match it, he was doing this. If the interior does not match it, then it doesn't matter. You're just a pretty picture. But if you really want to be a true piece of art, then be that beauty from the inside out. And that is, you are worthy. You are loved. When you step into Gus, you are everything you are seeking.
Yes.
Right? Everything you're seeking lies within you. All Gus does is open it right out, let the floodgates open.
That's right. What is it? Beauty's only skin deep, but ugly is to the bone.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, but it doesn't matter Outward appearances doesn't matter. It's what's in the heart. Yep.
That's exactly
God,
right.
you guys. Whew, I want to.
Yeah.
I just want to sop you up with a biscuit.
Yeah, we're our own feast here, aren't we? Our bread and
Yes,
our wine
yes,
and our company.
yes,
We're
yes.
it. And I
And
mean,
I
this,
am feasting.
yeah, it says this is delectable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But this, I think, is something else that we forget to do in life,
Mhm.
is feast on the celebration of
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
coming together,
Amen.
the potluck of life, everybody bringing their own ingredient to
Yeah.
the table, and
Yeah.
then sampling everything, and then that delectable
Yeah.
tastes that ignite your senses, of that
Yes.
coming together, is that we forget to celebrate each other. It's so busy, but they're not this, they're not that, they're not pretty enough, they're not wealthy enough, they're not worthy enough, they're not this, they're not that. Will you, for God's sake, just look at the person and see how beautiful they are and
Yeah.
celebrate that? We've
Well,
all got it.
yes. Check out your vision, because
Yes.
the beauty is there. If you can't see it, the problem isn't with what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The
You got the wrong
problem is
glasses
with
on.
problem is with how you are looking.
Projection again.
Yeah.
Again, exactly,
Oh,
exactly.
projection. Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. We can remove all of that and just even it's like looking at something, for example, like a dead animal on the road.
Yeah.
We can still look past the story and
Yes.
see, past the suffering story and the, and all of that. We can even just see it as it is and see that there's beauty there. There's life.
Yes.
Mhm.
There's
Yes.
organic
Yeah.
material.
Yeah.
And so we can
Yeah.
even in the most challenging, some of the things we see with the eyes are not as pretty, or what we call pretty, and we
Right.
have those labels up, but we put the glasses on. I agree with you, Sarah and Charles. This is a common thing, is that we trip up over simple things, and we don't
Yeah.
really enjoy
Yeah.
what's right in front of us because we've got
Right.
the bag over our head.
Yeah.
Well, the
How much?
forest. If you walk through the forest, how many branches are going to be down? How many
Yeah.
trees have fallen over? How
Yeah.
many things the woodpeckers chipped away? But
Yeah.
what makes the forest so beautiful is its diversity, how some
Yeah.
things are dying, some things are being renewed, how some things have fallen over but still managed to have growth, how it
Yeah.
serves every single living thing in the forest. Every single thing has a purpose. And so you can look at the forest as broken trees or disruption, or you can look at it as life in constant presence.
Exactly. And seeing the process as it continues, the rejuvenation. You see birth emerging in the midst of death and decay and whatnot, and that's just being able to appreciate the whole process
Yes.
as it is happening, and yeah, just I love that word, celebrate
Yes.
life, because it is all, even with the decay, that is just a phase of the life, and it is life renewing itself. Death is, which is, I don't particularly like the word death as much as I like the word transition.
Yes.
We
Yes.
transition
Ascension,
from,
transition. Yeah.
yeah, ascension's another one. We had the passing of a former Marine soldier. Then, so the way I express it is, well, this person, he is now taken on a new duty assignment at the gates of heaven.
Yeah.
So everybody knows the United States Marine Corps guards the gates of heaven. So, but so we and even for our regular members, we don't call it so much as it is their death, as it is they have transferred their membership to the church triumphant.
Right. It's the rebirth. I mean, the thing is,
yeah,
death isn't their sorrow.
right.
It's our loss, because we don't
Right.
have that physical connection anymore. But if you had a spiritual
Exactly.
connection, you never lose them. Yes, the arms can no longer wrap around, or those conversations can no longer be had, but you don't disconnect from the spirit if you had a spiritual connection. And we don't cry for the people that have ascended.
No.
because they've just gone home.
Yeah, if anything, I'm crying for me because I'm
Yes,
still here.
exactly. We cry for ourselves and the loss that
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
experiencing because they're no longer here.
right.
And that's the really where the pain is. I have
Yes.
people call me all the time when they lose someone, because I go into very much that that mode at that time,
Right.
of having them hold on to the beauty, to the celebration of their
Yeah.
life, to what's within them. Because if you've had somebody in your life that you care for, when they ascend, they leave a piece of themselves with you.
With you.
And every time you need to feel them, access them within you, and they are there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
This isn't like a fairy tale either. This is
No.
No.
You can see it, and they've done this in science as well. They see it on photographs. You can see it on these machines that they've now built with technology.
Right.
Nothing ever goes anywhere. Everything just changes, and
Yes, it just changes.
It's all
Miraculous energy. Yes.
Just,
The energy source just goes somewhere else. That's it. The energy wind takes it to another, as you said, another assignment, you know?
Yes, things do definitely change. Though I love this word celebration as well.
Yes.
Because it celebrates. It changes our total vibration overall, doesn't it? To celebratory. It brings a whole new meaning to this whole topic today about our soul's identity. Ageless, timeless, eternal. And it's not just like positive thinking and there they go again. It's actually the way that things are. What a comfort.
It's an energy. Comfort. I mean, Self-Discovery Radio is all about supporting and celebrating those making a difference in the world. That is the byline there. And what have you got to celebrate? I have got somebody else's beautiful divine journey and triumphantly in the service that they are now of humanity. If you can't celebrate that, what the hell can you celebrate? Because that journey is their gift to us. That knowledge, that beautiful golden nugget is their gift to us. And we get to put that in our backpack of life and take it with us. What a glorious gift. Isn't that something to celebrate?
Oh, it is. Celebration. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's just helping people to reframe in that way and to see things in that way. Another scripture, deep calls to deep. And there's that deep part of us, the esoteric. We're esoteric beings. Esoteric meaning inward, as opposed to exoteric, which is where we tend to put all of the focus and everything. But to embrace that inner beauty, that inner joy and peace, again, that peace that passes all understanding, that's always there. And this is where bringing this light and sometimes just breathing. And I love what you said earlier, Sarah, about breathing with that intentionality, the intentionality of love and awakening. And if you notice with Victorious Living, my tagline or whatever is empowering and releasing human potential through heightened self-awareness. When we come to a heightened awareness of our authentic soul identity, there's power there. There's power there. And when we put that that loving intentionality into everything that we say and everything that we do,
everything that we are.
That's
we're bringing ourselves to the table, and that's the thing. And I'm always saying we're not alone, but the journey we take is alone. We gather people and energy and love along the way, but it's still our life to take. It's not for someone to take it for you. And when you kind of quote, some people call it their tribe. I call it my orchestra, because everything relates back to music for me. And you go to one place and there is that song in that moment. In your album, that song is what's going to feed you and your purpose in that moment. Then you move on down the path and you might be alone for a while until you come across another beautiful choir with another song. And it's not about being a one note. or
Right.
one song person. We don't want any
Yeah.
one hit wonders here. We want
Right.
everybody to have an album in life, to have
Yes.
many songs and to step into
Yes.
it at any time. Like we've
Yes.
referred to quite a few today, be able to step
Yes.
into a song that maybe
Yes.
you can't articulate, but the song can.
Yes. Exactly right. Exactly
Yes.
right. Life is a song worth singing, so sing it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. I feel like we've sung many songs today.
Yes.
Yeah.
All that's missing is the music in the background.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
add
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
melodic and
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
whether we are actually singing, what we
Mhm.
are doing is that we've stepped into a harmonious vibration that is a song
Now,
itself. So we
there.
have been singing through this entire
Yes.
show.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. In beautiful harmonic resonance,
Yes.
emanating from here throughout the ends of the universe,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the song goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
And have you noticed that each one of us, we have a different walk of life, we have a different
Mhm.
purpose in life.
Mhm.
We've both had we've all had our struggles to get where we are today,
Mhm.
but how
Mhm.
we can be so in sync with
Yeah.
love, with harmony, with compassion, with
Yeah.
passion
Yeah.
for what we do, and how you can have all three of us here on this one show in
Yeah.
our beautiful presence and divineness. Nobody's had to step back to let somebody else shine. We've all shone in our own presence, including Athella, so that's four of us.
Yeah.
And what we've done is just giving you a beautiful, array of fireworks here. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that it's not about one person being more than the other. It's
No.
about us coming together, that's creating the harmony and the song that transcends everything.
Let the river flow.
Mm-hmm.
Spin wheel keeps on turning, and the primary keep
It
on.
keeps on
But that's it, just rolling on the river,
Oh, so rolling. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And that's really healing. This is so healthy. I mean, my sincere intention for everyone is like listen to these shows and listen again and again. It's so healthy. And
Yes.
if you're going to listen to something, put it through the ears and it goes into
Yeah.
subconscious, super consciousness and all of your
Yes.
cells.
Yes.
It should
Yep.
be just glorious. I mean, we're
Yeah.
worth it. We should be listening to
Yes.
consciousness all we can of taking it in, and
Absolutely.
sing your song with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sing your
Mm-hmm.
song.
And don't digest it through the head, digest it through the heart.
Through the heart. That's
Yeah.
a good word right there. And
Mhm.
know that there are going to be things. It's just like when you go to a movie, even you go and you see a movie and then you see it again a second time, and there's something there,
Yes.
you say, wow, I didn't catch that the first time,
Yes,
because
exactly.
there's so much there.
Yeah.
And that's Gus's way of giving us what we need when we need it. But our part is to continuously come to the table. This is kind of where again Jesus was, when he said, as we have shared here today, when Jesus said, he took the bread and said, this is my body, and gave it to you. So we have been kind of at that table, even though we are not able to physically pass bread, but essentially what Athella and Christina and Sarah and I have been doing is breaking bread, the bread of life, together and passing it amongst ourselves, and inviting.
Sharing substance.
Sharing.
There it is. That's so powerful.
That's
Wow.
so powerful.
I love you guys.
Oh, we love you too.
We love having you on. We're very selfish here, because we love what these shows do.
Yeah.
We love the
Yeah.
resonance that comes from this.
Yeah.
And it's great when you actually find somebody where each person can bring their own instrument, and it does create a harmony, because this is what all of us are here are doing. We are in such harmonious sync with each other, and this is why that resonance of true love really does go out to everyone. And we're being a little selfish here because we like it, don't we, Christina?
We do. It's magic.
Well,
it's magical and it's for everyone. Yeah.
We're getting the band back together.
Yeah. It sort of feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea for another show. I think one of us should bring 3 or 4 songs to the table, where we are actually going to talk to why those songs speak to us. and
Ooh.
why each piece of that music, what it means to us. Does it reflect something on our past, our present, our future? Is it something we go back to? Because why is music so powerful? Why is it such a big industry? Is because music is a reflection of where we are or where we want to be in life, or where we have been. And I think, why don't we do a show around what music actually brings to us, and let's share a little snippet of each of those songs. I'll insert it in the videos,
That would be
and
fun.
let us talk to, because we refer to music all the time.
Yes, we
Why
do.
don't we actually bring the music to the people? Why it is something that's so important.
Oh, I think that's a really cool idea. What do you think, Charles?
That's amazing. Yeah.
I've got some songs right here, right now.
Right.
A couple of things just popped into my
Yeah.
head, and I say, "Oh my goodness, I may end up revealing what a true romantic I am." Oh boy, that's good.
The Savage
That's a
Love
good
songs
idea.
are too.
Okay, well,
I
we're
also-
going to do that.
yeah,
We're going to do that. That's going to be another show that's going to come up. And
Totally. Well, and also we could even go into it, take a spin on it from there, and talk about how music really tunes into our soul, how it's on a molecular level even. It impacts our body, our mind, and it's got this quality to it that can really zing and take us,
well, that's why it's so healing for me.
Out of the head.
Yes, and we had beautiful Donna Lee, the galactic speaker, on, which I invite people to go back and listen to that show. And she's a galactic speaker, so when she speaks, we don't know what she's saying. It's a different language. It's a universal language. And so the head doesn't get it, which is wonderful. Ego's out of it. And it goes directly and speaks to the heart and soul and our DNA and resets us. And after going through a few sessions with her, I used to have really chronic depression, and I don't anymore because she reset me. But I realized something. Why music's so important to me is the frequency. It frequently resets me, and that's what she was doing with the galactic speak. And I realized it is the frequency and the rhythm that then speaks to you, and your miraculous structure of resetting us. And so yes, we can certainly bring that into the equation with our next show.
Beautiful.
And we do see that. We see that in shift in brainwave, in magnetic resonance. You'll see different parts of the brain light up when they connect.
Yes.
A person to the electrodes and whatnot. The whole experiment that the Japanese scientists did with the effect of sound on water crystals. So the things that people want to say, oh, that's a bunch of hocus pocus. No, it's real. This is how Gus has fearfully and wonderfully made us, and we need to be aware of that and take these are gifts from God, gifts from Gus for us to use to have a more abundant life. You know. So
why not take him? Take the glass of water that you've just blessed with a beautiful word or whatever. Why don't you just? It's simple.
It's kind of no brain, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think a show on the science of music.
Okay.
Right, it could be absolutely brilliant. We very selfishly get some good music in there and get our groove on, and at the same time we're talking very logically about the science and the spirituality behind it and how it benefits us, right?
I also thought of from sacred music, and there's a couple of hymns that I particularly don't like, and one of them is, because I call it the pity party hymn, because it's like, oh, nobody knows the trouble I see, and we're glorifying a downer,
misery.
And it's like, so what does that do? Oh, it just takes me down further, and I go into a serious depression, and
suicidal thoughts and all that. Exactly. Like those commercials, right?
Yeah. So
take this for depression, the side effect of suicide. The song's the same. Yes.
Oh my.
Oh God. Call the Addiction Network now. Oh boy, I'm addicted to all this negativity. More.
That's right. Well, we'll have the uplifting, high vibe songs in there, and people will just be soaring with us. I can't wait for the journey. This is really cool.
Yes. Oh no,
Very
I've got
cool.
a few just turning around in my head at the present moment. Absolutely. And you know, I always have music, you know, that in the beginning of the shows we have Danielle right now, which is, you know, Redirections, which is a great song. I've had Carole King's you know, Beautiful. You got to get up
Uh,
everybody with a smile on your face.
yeah.
I've had the Beach Boys, Good Vibrations, which we had a Beach Boy on our show, Robert Williams.
Yes.
And you know, and it is there are certain songs that just speak to you. They just,
Yes.
you know, it's like the beautiful word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. If you haven't got a word, just use something like that.
Yeah. Make up
Right?
one.
Well, that's from Mary Poppins.
Yes.
I know that one. Yeah.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I can't say it, but yeah, I know that one's from Mary Poppins.
Yes.
But
Yes.
my thing is wordification. If there's
Yeah.
not a word, make one up.
Oh yes. I'm
Yeah.
being teased all the time for doing that. You know,
Yeah.
is that even a word, Mum? I said, no.
Yeah.
It's not a word.
Good answer.
That's right.
Yeah. Wordify.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Thank you
Yes.
so much, both of you, for today's fun. This is a lot of fun, though. Listening to this, taking it into the soul.
Yeah.
We are formless. I mean, we are endless and limitless. So we can play, we can have fun. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. I think that they will. And our next one being on musical,
Yeah.
just shine the music through, and
Yes.
I can see us. I can see it already. So I'm
We're
excited
bringing
for
people
what's
to
come.
church, right?
Yes.
We're bringing the church to the people. Yes. We have a little science along the way.
Totally.
I'll bring my guitar for the next one.
Ooh.
Yay! You
Oh,
got something?
beautiful.
You got something? Yeah, because I know you're a singer too. We expect
Yes.
something from you.
Oh, absolutely. I think Athella and myself both. I think we'll hit some chords, and I'm a first soprano, so I hit some really, really high vibration. I really enjoy singing too. There's a whole different level that's activated. I mean, our whole soul bursts when the music
Yes,
comes
it comes
forward.
alive.
What an
Yes.
exaltation.
Like nectar.
That's so cool.
Absolutely. It's soul
Yes.
nectar completely.
Mm.
If you want to know what soul identity is, folks, it's everything we've talked about today. It's whatever switches your heart and soul on.
Yes.
You know, it's whenever you're in truth of self, living from the inside out, living from a place of love, a place of purpose, a place of light. That is your soul identity.
Yes.
Step into it. Don't be afraid of it. Forget about the exterior. The interior is what matters, right?
Yeah.
You know, the exterior of the house is all very pretty, but you live inside. So make sure it serves you.
Live.
Okay, so
Yes.
everybody, tell everybody how you get hold of yourselves. Charles, how do people get hold of you and your program? And then Christina.
Okay, well, they can get a hold of me by just reaching out, putting their arms around me, and giving me a big hug.
Oh, telepathic hug.
There it is. Yes.
You can get a hold of me through www.victoriousliving.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter, CG Eduardos on Twitter, and Charles Eduardos on Facebook, my fan page there, LinkedIn, and there's all kinds of ways that you can connect with me around if you know. Personal coaching, neuro-linguistic programming always comes into it, because again, it's about learning how your mind operates and how you can begin to consciously operate your own mind and start to really create some magic in your life, understanding how we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So
And what's your church, love? Where can they come to your church?
My church is All Saints Lutheran Church on Columbia Road in Olmsted Township, Olmsted Falls, Ohio. And we're right off of I-480.
Wonderful. And I want to be there one day. I'm coming. I've got to come to both of you. I need to win the lottery. Okay, Gus? I've got
already won the lottery.
I do. I'd like a little physical lottery so I can actually go do some physical stuff too. So, definitely.
The windows of heaven are opening up and blessings are being poured out.
It's showering down.
Absolutely. I've got lots of work to do with it, folks. So come on. And Christina, you and Athella can be found at?
You can find us at athella.org, which is ATHELLA.org, and all the social media. You just type in Athella. There's only one Athella. When I met Athella, she told me, my name is Athella. Just go ahead and say it. And I did. You'll only find one Athella. So I've never, ever heard that name before, and I don't think I ever will. If you just type it in on the internet, you'll find our YouTube channel. You'll learn all about our beautiful exotic retreats, because retreat is a great way to reset, hit the reset button, learn about meditation, learn about how the brain works, just like Charles does. My private sessions, and we have a coaching program too, where we go into coach visualizations and rapid eye movement therapies and things that will really rapidly change these firing neurons, because it's all science, and we retrain our brain, and we can start to see our world totally differently. And we're here to live and have fun and live vibrantly, not just like survive. We're here to live and have fun. So if you're looking for a coach on another dimensional plane, Athella is definitely someone to get in touch with. And of course, channeling sessions we do too. So everything's at athella.org.
Right.
But you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a Discovery Radio special event, I think, somewhere. I felt that just rise up.
Yes.
It's coming with the book, and you've both got to be in the book, and that's the event's coming with the book. Most
Oh,
certainly by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Far out, man.
Yes, Self-Discovery Community will be up and alive, which is the NPO, by the end of the month. And of course, Self-Discovery Radio is the marketing for that, and all the good things that people are doing. And there is going to be a book coming by Christmas, which will be participatory by my beautiful radio guests contributing a chapter, their own show, a little mini video, and then I want to see actually where we go around and actually meet everybody and its video. So yes, that is coming. That's the desire, right?
Wow.
So anybody listening out there that wants to sponsor this, contact me at info@selfdiscoveryradio.com. We would love to embrace everything that you have to give. So we here at selfdiscoveryradio.com. These shows are channeling ascensions. You'll also find them on Christina's video YouTube. We are now a YouTube. It's under my name, Sarah Troy. But we are on video, we're on audio with SoundCloud and Google Play. And we have another show coming up next week at Charles and I house with a wonderful gentleman called Ainsworth, where we are actually going to be looking at religion, as he's a young pastor that then changed his direction when he had some realizations. So we're going to get into the real nitty-gritty of religious talk. Ooh, that's going to be a juicy one. And that will be on next week on Choose Positive Living and Ignite Your Heart and Soul show. So please come in and tune in on that. And of course, Charles is going to be back with us, where we're going to be doing the musical science show. And or the science of music. Maybe that's the way to go. My dyslexic moment. Science of music. And we're going to be bringing that. That one's going to be fun.
That's going to be
fun.
fun.
The sugar, the candy. You talked about sugar flakes. These are the sugar flakes. They really are.
Sugar, get high on this.
Yes, get high on this.
Yeah.
So,
come back.
No side effects.
No side effects, except for you're just going to be so uplifted.
You're
and
gonna
in such a place of heart and spirit, you're just going to have to go out and hug someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go out and give someone some of this love. So please do go out and share this love with somebody else. Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Well, another beautiful show. Thank you so much, you wonderful, beautiful people. And please, folks, share this show. Come on, share it. Listen to it or watch it together with a few friends or family. Have a discussion afterwards. How can you change your vocabulary? How can you step into your soul consciousness? How can you step into your heart? How can you live from the inside out? Have a conversation, please, because that's your connection. That's your liberation. And that's your celebration of each other. So please, share. Do, be.
Yeah. Amen to all that.
Thank you so much, both of you. And we're all living in this moment. So I invite everyone to just breathe as we close this beautiful
Bye for now, folks.
Bye.
Bye for now.
For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.